Hello Virgo, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I have prepared here now to do your reading. I feel like this time around, this round of readings, I've been asked to do something about love-hate. So something we both love about maybe ourselves, and we also hate it, or we have this very ambivalent relationship with something because it's so you, but it also brings you in trouble, maybe, it's so you, but then also something else. It can be someone you're dealing with, like sometimes this inner thing may manifest on the outside, right? But it's something like that, and I feel there is an influence from the new moon energy in Pisces that is still, I feel like, present. It was on the 10th and we have the 13th today. That's when I'm recording, and I still feel the presence of this new moon in Pisces. You can look up that new moon reading. It was different. I feel like I feel it was definitely well, it talked a lot about transition and what happens when we transition from something to something else, and there was something about that the abundance or the blessings that we consider important in our human life. It's like when we transition over, and that's what Pisces is. It's the last house, it's the elderly. It represents for me like the wise old matriarch or patriarch that have lived a long life. They have experienced everything, right? And then when they leave this realm, it's like they realize something, that there is something, all this thing that they have been so occupied in, all the stuff they have accumulated, all the money perhaps, or that it's when you transition, it's like you can't really use it. You can't take it with you. It's something, you take something else with you, perhaps, right? You take wisdom or you take knowledge with you, but you can't take the stuff with you. And I feel there's something about this here that, and I don't know, Virgo, if you are someone who clings to your stuff, right? That stuff and money and, securities in some way, physical securities like, let's say, land, house, in like investments into property, or that this is important to secure something, to secure some kind of livelihood here, where I feel like the Pisces reading was very much about almost, I want to say, not a human life, and it felt like the other side, like it felt like when you are not here engaging in the human realm, you are somewhere else, and in that space all the currency here from the human life, it doesn't comply here. Like it's not working. It has no meaning. There's no status in money. There's no, does that make sense? It's like you are an earth sign, considered an earth sign, right, Virgo? But I believe that deep down Virgos are more than this. Like you are more ether to me than you are earth. Like there is something, I believe Virgos carry a sense of Jesus energy in them. Like particles, right? You carry something that is different than only earthy. But what I normally see in the human realm, our human experience and existence here, is the earth element from Virgo. It is about the stuff you have. It is about how clean it is. It is about how clean your home is. It is about image. It is about, you're spotless, right? Your haircut is always perfect. Your makeup is perfect. Your clothes is perfect. There is something about a higher octave for Virgos, but I see it manifested at this current time as perfection, like perfection about stuff and things, your children, your house, your garden, your work, your image. It's how you present, it's how you come across, it's how you're spotless, right? There must be no finger to be pointed on you, like you are perfect in that sense. Virgos they are usually also quite handsome or pretty. They have quite beautiful features. They have big smiles. We know that Virgo, another thing about Virgo is the herbalist. It is the one that knows everything about diets and supplements and like the right things to eat, the right combination, the right amount, the right portion, never too much, never too little. But being perfect in this very imperfect world is a big, well, you could say achievement, but it's actually also very difficult because there's always something in this world, as I just said, that is imperfect. If you are attempting the perfect Virgo with everything you have in your life, with every earthy thing you have, your work, your money, your investments, your diet, your children look perfect, your partner looks perfect, the garden does, the kitchen does, it's always neat and tidy and things like that. Everybody behaves perfectly. They walk perfectly. They have perfect weight control or body weight. They are fit. They are well nourished from the diet you have. But you see, everybody has a shadow side. So in this world, in this duality world, so having this very perfect thing going on requires a lot. And I'm a Virgo moon, so I know this energy very well. Like I can walk through my house and I spot, like literally, if there's just this tiny little thing on my floor that has a slightly different color on my floor, I spot it. And I spot it to the point that I have to remove it, right? So that I get this perfect floor. And to have this very detailed, very actually judgmental eye, I want to say, this is what I would call a problem also. It's, yes, you spot a very detailed and very how can I say that? It never misses. Like you are like a machine in this way. Every day you have this. Every day you can do this. Every day you can go through your house and you will spot the things. It never stops. Like it's always there. It's always present. This very detailed, focused scanning, you could say. This scanning of something. And when you are encountering something in the environment around you, from other people, you see it immediately. Something that is not living up to this highest octave of something. And it bothers you, doesn't it? It bothers you that it's not maybe prioritizing the same detailed, focused perfectionism as you do. This high octave, what I talk about, it's like a virtue, right? It's part of your entire presence. Dealing with a Virgo means that there will be high octaves or ideals in some way. And this can be in any way. You know, like you can, there can be very particular areas in your life where you want this to be perfect. And then there can be others where it's maybe not the same. But if you are a very full-blown Virgo, this could be in your entire life. Like you are the one in the office that is always perfect. Your workstation is perfect. Your wardrobe, your look, your image is perfect. What you are doing at work, you deliver a very high-end result, probably quite detail-oriented, and it's spotless. But you see, maintaining this in a very imperfect world where other people, and you already know this, you know the people in the office who is not like you. You know the one who always gets in 10 minutes late. You know the one who is not doing their best or doesn't have the same ideals as you. You already have spotted them. You know who they are. And you know they are not like you. They don't have that criteria, this high octave or high criteria focus. They don't care about it. Or they don't have it. Measuring up to you is difficult for them, you could say. But you could be concerned about your own, you know, like you want to present something specific. You want to do that in your home as well. You're doing that with your friends. And again, your way of behaving can be quite virtuous. You never drink too much. You never, unless you let your shadow side out. To the outside world, you are quite perfect. On the shadow side, though, you could have, you know, you eat candy, you're lazy maybe, or, you know, but you never show it, like never to the outside world. This is a bit of a secret then. Because it's important that people know this about you. That this is what they see. And this is also an internal voice, right? That if you actually get lazy, if you actually eat candy, you will have this critical voice telling you at the same time you shouldn't do it. That this is wrong. So this perfectionist, you could say, inner perfectionist, that is constantly judging and scanning the outside world for imperfection. This is like a love-hate thing, right? Because of course, yes, you will have a very clean home, you will have very good credentials to present, you could say. At the same time, it's exhausting. It's a big deal. It takes a lot of effort. And maybe others around you are not appreciating it. They are not appreciating your high octave. They don't appreciate your ideals. They don't see it. Maybe they see your ideals as totally overworked, like totally too much, like way too much, way too complicated, way too much work, way too detailed. So you could be misunderstood for this, right? And if you are dealing with your opposite, who could be a Pisces, you see, they could, all the things that you are, entertaining, like maybe the stuff you have in your home, the work you have, all the effort you put in to keep this up, to make it look shiny, to make it spotless. Like if you're dealing with a Pisces, for instance, that is your opposite, as I just said, they may not care about it. Like they may not care about your stuff and how perfect and shiny it is. Like there is no dust in your house, right? Pisces may be like it's fine. Like if you want to have your home like that, okay, but I may not do the same, right? I may not have that. I don't care about the same kind of it's a watery sign, Pisces. It's into emotions. It's into the relationship you have with each other. It's about connection. This, all the exterior stuff doesn't really matter for Pisces. It's all exterior. When it comes down to it, what are people thinking about when they are transitioning? Of course, they could think about the money they have, but it's about their children, right? It's connection with family. It's the people that they cared about. It's about the love that they have for people. It's about those closest to them. It's not about all this stuff. It's not about how clean it is. Right? It's not about you being spotless. It's about who you are inside. It's about the connection between you and them. It's not about the stuff. It's not about work even. Like as I said, I believe that Virgo hold an energy, this high octave. I think it more has to do with faith. It has to do with if you have religion in your life, it's more about that. It's like, I feel sometimes Virgos, it's like they are the reason why they do all this stuff. The reason why this is so important for them is to be acknowledged. Like they want to be acknowledged by something, that they are doing their absolute best here. But this world and the people around them, they may not even appreciate it. I feel sometimes it's like it's something else that should appreciate them. It's like, let's say if God could appreciate them. Something more, something like the high octave they have is according to something. Like this, the voice of the highest octave, the judge of it, or the teacher of this comes from somewhere. And of course it can come from your parents, I guess, right? But usually what we learn from our parents as Virgos is exactly this. Keeping a tidy, neat home, perfect. Keep your image right. Never too much, never too little. Never overdress, never underdress, right? Everything is perfect. You never have, like unironed shirts where others may do that, but you never have that. It's like there is this, you're supposed to, because if you are not, someone could put a finger on you, and if they do that, it's like you failed in some way. Like failing in your attempt to be this perfect. It's like always getting straight A's in everything you do. But if you constantly have to get A's here in all your life, this is very difficult to uphold and maintain. Also, when you get older in life, you may not be an A all the time. Maybe you can't keep up this A. When something like this, like the failure, happens to a Virgo, I think it's a very tragic one. It's experienced as a tragic fall, I think, for Virgo. I believe certain Virgos that experience this, it's almost like they like an angel falling, it's so devastating and so tragic. And such a, again, I feel like it's not necessary that the world around you judges you. It's like you are judged by something else. Like there is a higher judgment of you in some way. It's not necessarily your spouse or your friends or your children. This is internal. So let's say if you are an elderly Virgo, right, who has once been very active and very healthy and very vibrant and very good at all this perfectionism, and suddenly you can't uphold it. You can't clean your home as often. You can't bathe at all as often. You need help to bathe. You need help to stay clean. Because again, Virgos are always clean. They're always, again, spotless. They never smell. If they smell, it's a slight perfume, not too much, not too little. It's always perfect. But a Virgo falling is or a Virgo failing, it's like this attempt to keep everything up like that is suddenly crumbling. And when it crumbles, it feels like such a tragedy. All the virtues, all these right, good, high octave Virgos are falling. And this is a tragedy for a Virgo. Internally, this is like an identity crash. You can't uphold the same identity. As I said, maybe you need help just to bathe. Maybe you need help. You need maybe medication. Suddenly you have to eat a lot of painkillers. And normally, again, Virgos, they don't do that. If they can find other alternative, more organic supplements, they will do that instead. They want they want a pure, clean body. They want it to be clean. Again, the Virgo, it's the virgin, right? It has this cleanness to it. But it's difficult to uphold it. So you have these extreme virtues, and then there is this downside to it, or there is this again, this can be a love-hate thing, right? That you can't not be this. Like, there's a part of you that wants this, that you are this to a certain point. And then there's this other side where you are exhausted by it, right? Where you may be exhausted to uphold it. And a Pisces, which is your opposite, right? It's like they go through life differently. They're usually quite spiritual people. They have many channels open. They could be very psychically gifted. That is their world. This is how they operate, right? They have a very strong orientation towards something like this, whereas an emotion and connection, it's sensitive and emotional, and it in their world, all this stuff and all those details, all this structure, all those plans, you're very analytical, you're very good at making plans, you're very good at again, keeping everything in order so that it looks spotless, right? But to a Pisces, this may mean nothing. Because when it all comes down to it, what is important in life? What am I taking with me when I transition out of this world? This is what Pisces concerns about. Their entire life is like that. They hold on to the things that are important to them, not to the stuff, not to all those rules, virtue rules, you know, or rituals or something. They no, like it's, and I do feel like there's this. And maybe that's why I talk about love-hate relationships right now, because this new moon is actually there for you, right? It's like maybe you are presented with this new moon, the idea of, what if it doesn't matter? What if all of this stuff that you do, all of these things that you have kept intact, all this mask, or, well, it's not quite a mask for Virgos, but what if it's not? What if it's not about that? Right? That's what I feel like. It's like there is something else here. And I feel this. For Virgos, I just feel like all this tidying, all this spotlessness, it's not the full aspect of what Virgos are. As I said, I feel like it's more like it's not to say that they are wrong. Like, the virtues are not necessarily wrong. This idea of keeping yourself very pure and clean and healthy and strong and vibrant and things like that, that is not, it's not a problem like that. It's just some of these virtues are maybe too much for this world, for you to have balance. For you to have balance in a duality world, it can never be high octave all the time. This idea of relaxing a little bit, that could maybe be a good thing. But I know that if you are strictly following like this virtue voice in you, then, or this Virgo voice in you, if you're strictly following it, it's asking you to always do better, do better, do better, do better. Always perform. Always, always, always. Always look better. Always do better. Always have a better image. always improving, always improvement. That's why you are so spotless. But it's very exhausting. And sometimes people around you are not even noticing. They have no idea how much effort you put into this, how much energy you have just by scanning everything for potential failures or potential errors. And I know, of course, it depends on where you have Virgo in your chart, for instance, right? But I think that Virgo suns are definitely recognizing this in themselves. Virgo moons also, I guess. I'm a Virgo moon. But of course you can have this Virgo Mars, you can have an ascendant Virgo, and you will have this also. It's like a voice that keeps correcting or telling you to do better. It can be a criticizer or a judge, something like that. Because it judges everything that is in your life somehow. And when you meet someone who is different like you, of course you will judge them. Like you will identify they are different than me, right? They don't have the same values as me. To a certain point, Virgo can even think, and this can be a shadow aspect, that you're better than them because you have these virtues. So that's just to be considered. But still, I also feel like Virgo is actually they can identify that others don't have the same criteria level as they do. And they may to a certain point accept that, but it's very important that they have it. Like the Virgo must always have this and always live up to it. Like, it's like they are a sense of a role model, perhaps, Like maybe they see themselves as a sense of role model. That I exude this. And this is the preferred standard that everybody should follow. But sometimes other people don't follow it. Like they don't care about these virtues. But that could be what Virgo are. And again, it's not necessarily that you are aware of this. I feel like for me it has been this voice that just kept asking me to clean up, fold your clothes, all this. I couldn't. It had to be. There had to be these categories. There had to be this. No, it can be messy in some way. Like the Virgo eye or inner voice can't have anything that is messy. Like you don't have, you fold your clothes. When you take your clothes off and you go to bed, you fold it. It's not laying around on the floor. Am I right? Like it's like there's this voice that keeps nagging at us until we actually take it from the floor, fold it and put it on the chair or whatever where you put it. It becomes like a nagging that keeps just pointing to it. Like this must not be. Something like that. And that creates this perfectionism thing, right? It's like needing. It's like you are assigned a role to be this role model of higher octave behavior. And you must keep this up at all times. But it's quite exhausting. And sometimes people don't want to see you as a role model. They don't care about your rules. They don't apply to it. They don't see it. They don't want to hear about the virtues. They don't want to hear about all this right stuff or righteous stuff. They don't care about supplements. They don't care about detoxing the body. They don't care about being pure. You know, well, they may, appreciate a nice, tidy home, but they don't see the effort you put into it. So the love-hate relationship I talk about here is the perfectionist. Because why is it that you need to have this perfectionism, this spotlessness? Why is it necessary? Where does this voice come from? And who is speaking here? It can be a parent, of course. Can be a parent that says this. But it can also be, it's just more, like there is something else that is like from a very high place judging you in some way if you're not doing this. And I'm asking you to maybe figure out what that is, this exact, because is it helpful? Like, I believe in examining this for myself. I know I have done a lot of things that are actually not very self-caring. I have judged myself. I have seen myself like go through the worst diets. I have been starving myself because I had to look differently. I have have this cleaning anxiety. I had that everything had to be spotless. It was very domineering. It was not caring. It was not self-caring. It was not for, you could say, myself, I did it, but still I did it. You see? So it's like having an I wouldn't say a dictator, but a dictator's voice, and then at the same time not wanting it. At the same time needing a break. So this is that's how it can come across. And that's why I have this love-hate thing. Because of course you can also gain something. Like if people see you as perfect like that, they can never really criticize you, right? You have already scanned for whatever possible criterias that could come up, and you have made sure that you have adapted to it. But this is hard work. It takes a lot of energy to always be perfect, always behave perfect, always be kind and nice, and no matter how the world treats you. It's very virtuous, as I said. It's a bit saint-like, can be a bit saint-like. So again, it's this kind of role model, that needing to be this better person in some way. I say there is a sense of, like Jesus was this very special character. And his light and love was so perfect, you could say. He had this very special aura around him. that kind of just told people that this was a saint, right? That he was an angel in some way. And I'm saying, Virgo, that this can be, I feel like Virgos do have particles of this. That's why this octave is there, I think. To be a bit of this, to act in this way. But the problem of this is that we can sometimes judge others for not being the same as us or seeing the values. And when we judge others, we are definitely not Jesus, right? This is where we are falling, actually. When we fall, the failure would be to be very critical to someone else because they are not complying with all your rule or settings. And I get it, this can be very unpopular for me to say that, but I feel like this has been part of my own journey to realize that some of my criterias were not criterias that others wanted. They couldn't see the value in it. And this is exactly what I talk about on my channel, or have been lately, about what you are at your core. If you talk to a fire sign about all these virtues, I think they will probably don't care about them. Unless they have Virgo strong in their chart as an ascendant or personal planet. Otherwise, they don't care about it. Like my son, for instance, he is an Aquarius. I've said this before, but he has no Virgo placements. Like they are, he doesn't have any Virgo placements. Not, I really have to look for them then. I have to put in like really different kinds of planets, not the ordinary ones that come up when you put in your normal data. Then it shows up with certain planets in your zodiac. I have to look for it to find Virgo in there. My son, he doesn't care about these Virgo things. Like it's not a priority to him. Like he doesn't. I can hear it, I can see it, I can everything in him. Like when I come in with some of my the voice here, you know, he doesn't care about it. I care about it. He doesn't. And then still I'm trying to sometimes stop myself, right? Because I've become very aware of this. And how it actually makes me overwork. Like if he doesn't want to tidy up his room, for instance, or it takes, you know, there can go much more time before he does something. Then it has already bugged me 2 or 3 times before he actually takes action. Sometimes it bugs me so much that I take action, right? I start tidying up in there because I can't look at it, right? It bugs me. I become reactive because he is not doing or following the same criteria as I want. But he doesn't care about those criteria. My criteria is not his. And I can project my criteria upon him, but he just doesn't seem to, you know, care about it. So when he moves out at some point, I'm pretty sure if I come visit in his apartment, it would look like what I would call a mess. Like it would be a mess in my eyes, right? And that is exactly what I talk about. It's something about that, and the love-hate relationship can be this as well, that we can seem to accept mess perhaps, right? A mess is a problem in some way. So we tidy it up. We make sure it goes away. So that we can relax. Tidying up or having this structure, this tidiness in some way makes you relax more. The voice doesn't bigger anymore when you have taken away all this stuff. Then you can relax. Until next time you come and there's exactly the same mess. Then it's bickering again, the voice inside you, right? It's telling you all these things that need to not be there in some way. And that's what I feel like Virgo is struggling with sometimes, actually. It's accepting maybe that there is this imperfection in this world, that it never will be, especially with other people. Like it never will be the same. And if you're dealing with an opposite, I'm not saying that they are very messy in their home. But if they are, that is the reason. Your opposite is not like you, they are your opposite. But we sometimes get attracted to our opposite. Most of the time, actually, we do get physically attracted to those that are very different than you, because they could actually not care about all this tidying. They don't have that bickering voice in them. Unless, as I said, they have Virgo ascendant or Virgo in some personal planet perhaps. Otherwise, they don't have this bickering voice as you do in your head. And living with someone, having a relationship with someone who is different than you, like they may not have the same criteria. So this love-hate thing can be about this. That we don't seem to have the same understanding. It's important to you, but it may not be important to someone else. So if this is a problem in some way, in a relationship, for instance, it has to be communicated. It has to be talked about. You have to find some kind of maybe compromise. Because they don't know it unless you say it to them. They are not necessarily like you, especially, as I said, if you have attracted an opposite into your life, they don't care about this stuff. And there is again this idea, why is it like, do you actually like being this role model? Or this saint-like, pure saint? Do you like it? Does it justify your life or your criteria? And does it also justify that you can project it onto others who do not have this? Who has fire maybe here, or air a lot, right? Or even water, Pisces. So if you stand in front of someone who is air, fire and water, and they don't see this very practical, earthy effort you put in, I also think this is part of your love language, right? That this is how you show everybody that you care. But others may not see it like that. They have another love language. They may not at all know how much effort you put in, but also how much it bugs you, because the voice starts. The bickering voice in your head starts to move if it's not clean. So it always makes you work. It always makes you do something. It always makes you tidy up, do better, improve. You know, always, always, always. You never have a quiet moment or a break. And Pisces, as I said, maybe this new moon is asking you to have a break. Or maybe have a look at it. Like, is it really that important what you're doing? Especially if those around you don't care. You know, there's this perfect example with the Virgo who has tidied up the entire room, has just swept the floor. You've just cleaned, wet cleaning the floor. And people come in with dirty boots and they walk through the room, you know. So you're looking now at this floor that you have just cleansed. And you're seeing these footprints of these dirty boots. And there's this non-respect for what you have just done, right? That people don't appreciate, they don't even maybe, like, they don't stop themselves. They walk in anyway. They're not realizing that it takes an effort to clean the home. And now it's dirty again, and you can start all over. And how that gives you unease, like how it's affecting you when something like this happens. And you have to ask yourself, why is it affecting me that much? Can I just not relax about it? Is it possible for me to relax just a little bit? I know they were just kids. Like, it's just my kids coming in. But I can't seem to not stop myself from feeling that now it's a problem. You know, something like that. You can put any situation in there. You just wash your car, and the first thing that happens when you roll out of your driveway is that a bird comes and poos on your front window. And now you can see this spot on your window. Every time you sit yourself into the car, you can see this thing on your window. Take any situation, but you know, you have just finished everything at work, and a colleague comes and they talk to you, but they, you know, and they have a cup of coffee. But when they walk away after you have talked, their coffee cup is still there. And even better, if they have put their coffee cup on one of your papers, and it has left this coffee mark. You know, it's just this, right? This, that it shouldn't be like that. But again, can we get to a point where we are just saying, okay, this is one of the imperfect things in this world. Never mind, right? Because the thing is that it's you who gets reactive to this. The colleague doesn't care about it. You become it makes you feel terrible. It makes you feel angry perhaps, or it makes you feel uncomfortable. They don't care about it. Perhaps. They don't care about it. But you do. So it's your emotions. So why is this so important? Why can we not just say, okay, this is one of life's imperfections. I'm not getting bothered with it. Because if I get bothered, it's also my problem to to ease it again. If I get angry, it's also up to me to soothe myself again. So do I want to get angry? Or can I somehow just dismiss it as, this is not my deal, it's one of life's imperfections? Because when I can do that, I don't get that upset, right? It may bug me a little bit, but then I can easily just calm it down again and just move on with my life. The more reactive you become, the more you also have to calm down again. Or even if you get reactive and you just feel like I have to tidy everything up, you now also get a lot of work. If you can say to yourself, as I just mentioned, this is my son's apartment. It's messy, but it's not mine. This is one of life's imperfections. And eventually he gets there. Eventually he gets to the point where, okay, maybe I should take this trash out. Eventually I get to a point where this becomes too much and I tidy up everything. If I can get to a point where I'm saying this is not my mess, I find it highly imperfect, but I'm not doing anything. I leave. I say goodbye, thanks for today and everything, coffee and everything, bye bye, thanks for dinner, and then I leave again. I don't start tidying up because it's not my work to do, it's his, right? It's his. He can ask for help, he can ask, I can offer help, but it gives me a lot of extra work just because I can't handle this. Because I can't handle this, it gives me a lot of dis-ease or uncomfortable feelings. This is my thing to deal with. It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with me. So can I somehow accept that this is one of life's imperfect cards, you could say? This is a visual of imperfect ways, and maybe I don't like it, but it's not mine. And I'm leaving it there so that I just take care of myself and ease this down, and I don't get extra work. I return to my own house or my own home. And that is my house, that is my thing. Here I can figure out how perfect I want it. And is it really that important? Because otherwise I can keep tidying up all my life. It never gets perfect in this dualistic world. It never will be. It will never be calm also. It will never be peaceful all the time. We don't have full peace in the world. It will never be that great. It will never be that perfect. So can I somehow put an ease over this and know that it's okay? Because it never stops. It never stops. There will always be someone where the lawn is a bit too high and it should actually be cut. Or there's a weed around everything and you wanted to have this clean garden, this perfect garden. There will always be, people or places or neighbors or where it doesn't look like that. I'm not sure where this voice comes from. I've been wondering if it were my parents, and I think, there was something about that from my parents, But it's not only that. It's like there is more. It's like there is this higher judgment in some way. Almost like a judgment from the universe or something that has kept me, keep all of this up somehow. Definitely something from my parents, but not only. There is more than that. I feel like it can come in almost like some kind of universal judgment. Please let me know if that rings a bell, or if you feel like that is what you also feel. Like there is this greater doom. That if I fail in this, if I fail in being this saint, or being this role model, this perfect being, then it's like a doom, like I like an angel falling, And there is a fear of that. This is devastating. It must never happen. The doom must never come. So Virgo does everything they can to keep it up here all the time. But eventually, I believe that, especially when Virgos get older, and even to the point where they can't manage their own household anymore, then there's this feeling of doom, that now they are a burden. Now they are a problem. Now they can't uphold this perfect image, But the perfect image is all in your head. Like the perfectness is all in your head. These are some kind of standards that are somehow inside you. If you can level them out a bit, if you can even lower them, or as I said, you can accept imperfection in others or imperfection around you somehow. If there's a spot on your floor, leave it. Let it become normal that there can be a spot or two on your floor. Leave the coffee stain on your desk. Even though it bugs you, right? Leave it there. Eventually it becomes normal. Eventually you expect it to be there. You see, but there is a way out of this, and it's this love-hate thing that, it can bring you a sense of ease and comfort, and that you can keep yourself as the saint, you could say, or this virtuous, pure being. But it also is a lot of work, as I said. Okay, let's have a look at the cards here. Okay, I get sensuality here. So this is very interesting. Feminine wisdom and passion. I actually think this is a very, very good card to get for you, because is this easy, Virgo, to express? It says sensuality. I even want to say sexuality. Is that easy for you to express your passion? Become fiery, passionate about something? Is that easy to show to the world? Is it easy for you to be sensual? Or do you have this correcting voice that immediately tells you, oh, this is not purity. This is not the virgin. The virgin is the virgin. This one is not a virgin, right? This one is... This can be playfulness. This can be sensual. It's the rumba, right? It's the rumba, the tango. It is the... this is a field, I believe, that for some Virgos, this can be a shadow side, actually. It's like how can I keep my perfectness up as this saint-like or role model, and then at the same time have this? Can you be, for instance, a belly dancer, a fierce, sensual, maybe even sexual belly dancer, and be a Virgo at the same time? This can be also what this love-hate thing is, of course there are things that go probably your way when you keep up your virtuousness. But can you be sexual? Can you be sexual as a Virgo and feel good about it? Can you be relaxed and feel good about it? Maybe showing cleavage, and because this other voice can tell you that this is not right. Virgos can be quite sexy. Again, they're very usually quite handsome, also because they take very good care of their image. Like their skin is great, their hair is great, the makeup is perfect. They are very fit usually. So they can be actually very attractive people. They can be very well maintained. There could be quite a lot of effort going into image, what they look like, how they behave. But this is an interesting energy coming up here in the middle, because how do you maintain that? Your root chakra here tells you to be worried. Four of Pentacles here is a card that feels, I have to keep this a bit close to my heart. I'm not necessarily open about this. This is a thing to be worried about. I could lose something here if I show up in a particular way. Can you be a fierce femme fatale and be a virgin at the same time? Can you be seductive? Can you be seductive here and be virtuous at the same time? There is some, and this is a worrying card, right? The Four of Pentacles is worried that you could lose something that you already have. Like you're worried to lose. Well, Pentacles is usually stability in some way. Lose financial stability. Maybe you could lose your work. Like what if you become a bit too sensual at the Christmas party? You become, a bit too drunk maybe, or a bit too free here. What if you show up in too sexy of an outfit or something like that? or you pursue something with too, like, a lot of passion, or as I said, can you be a femme fatale? Can you in the bedroom with your partner be free here? Can you show yourself and be free? Can you be sensual and sexual? Can you let go of, like, the virtuous and just, flow? Or are you, even when you lay there with your partner, are you concerned whether he would, like, can you be relaxed? Can you have a cracked fingernail and go to bed if your partner is there beside you? Because if he saw this, he would not find you perfect. Can you are you relaxed to show your body with someone? Can you give yourself to someone? Can you relax in that environment? Can you do that? Can you be sensual here and just let this inner tiger out? You could say this feminine, sensual, sexual part of you. I feel like I'm speaking to a woman here, right? Can you do that? Can you, or are you wondering whether you would lose respect or acceptance? Maybe, as I said, maybe your job, maybe livelihood. The Four of Pentacles is usually something about not feeling you have enough, that maybe your savings are gone, or, everything you have invested in is suddenly turning you down. If you show something like this, if you actually show cleavage, if you become too much of something, this can even be something like wanting to follow some kind of feminine wisdom here, like if you become let's say you want to become a witch here, that you feel you have there are some other drives in you. Let's say you have Scorpio somewhere in your chart, right? That you have a Virgo sun and you have a Scorpio moon. Then you could have like the shadow side of you wants to be occult, maybe wants to challenge yourself in certain mystical areas. But mysticism is not virtuous. It's not God-like or Jesus-like or saint-like. It could actually be the opposite. So this could be, like you could have something here in you that wants to explore, and you have maybe great passion here, but you want to explore something here. Usually it's said that the tiger is feminine. It hunts at night. It's present at night. Maybe this is something that happens when you go to bed, or you dream about something, or it shows up when, when nighttime comes, before you go to bed. It's something that is maybe you have very sensual dreams or sexual dreams here. And if you should show this, or if you should actually be the one that takes action on something, that you're the one that, let's say, take action in the bedroom, right? That you're the one that initiates something, initiates a seduction or initiates something. Can you be virtuous at the same time? Can you be this spotless, virtuous person at the same time? So sometimes these virtuous deeds as I feel like for Virgos especially, can become like they can become a problem also if there's something else in your life that you also want to pursue, right? Because usually we are a mix. You are not only Virgo. You also, as I said, you could have a Scorpio moon. You could have an air sign as your Mars. You could have fire in your Venus. If you have Venus in, let's say, Aries here, Aries Venus, you could have quite a lot of fire here towards someone that you love. And maybe you want to have this sensuality, seduction, sexuality going. But at the same time, it goes against your Sun Virgo, right? That the part of you that is more Virgo-like is not like that. It would correct you if you try to do something like that. So dealing with your inner passions here, your inner fire, your inner desires, could be creating an issue. That this could also be your love-hate relationships, that you know you do have this. And you love it. You love some of it. You love all the passion, all the wisdom that's there, all this, that it's such a desire to do this, but at the same time you are afraid to show it, because if people saw this about you, you could not, on the other hand, uphold this other sense of image, you could say. In your crown chakra, though, you know that this is your way to freedom. Like whatever you have here, and I see that she has a necklace here with green and blue colors. So for some reason, I feel like you are wearing it. Like there is a little bit part of you that is showing this to the outside world. But it could be way more blue, right? It could be way more watery, perhaps, here. There are a lot of bubbles here. It is a dragonfly, which is normally not necessarily, well, it hangs around water. It does like to hang around water, right? But it's not necessarily in the water. You are carrying a necklace here that kind of shows this tendency or this longing, perhaps. But most of the other colors here are more earthy to me. This card is also not at all very blue. It actually has all the other colors but blue in it. So it tells me that you may uphold an image that is not at all very blue. Again, you may not show this where you do feel freedom. You're not showing it. It's in your awareness. It's in the crown chakra here. You may think about someone. Maybe this is a Pisces. You may think about someone and you are wearing it here like a necklace. But you see, it's a very little thing in your entire world here. It's close to your heart, but there is so much more in your environment here that shows more of this other things here. When this is in the root position, it tells me that maybe from childhood you were not encouraged to follow this passion of yours that could lead to your freedom. You were probably asked to do something else, follow all other plans, follow other virtues maybe. But deep down, these special virtues here are actually more. It's it awakens your passion. It awakens who you are, but becoming more sensual or maybe more feminine. Again, maybe showing more skin, just being part of very, very maybe feminine virtues. As I said, maybe you become a belly dancer here, a fiery, very intense belly dancer, showing the belly and dancing and everything. But that is not what you've been taught, or when you grew up. It's not what you have been taught, right? You were supposed to follow other plans. Sorry, I have the hiccups now. It says feminine wisdom, but he shows a man here. Maybe you have been told to follow more masculine masculine styles here, masculine like education, schools education, something safe. This could be more artistic, more creative, more artistic, more creative, again, more feminine, more sensual. I get dance here, like again, a reference to rumba, tango. And in that space, you feel free. Maybe even in the seductive realm, when not necessarily sexual, but it's a realm where you let yourself dance and move differently. It takes you away from this very structured, maybe rule-based life, where there are all these rules and demands and requirements. And when you enter into this realm, it allows you to have a break. It allows you to feel free for a moment. It frees you from not feeling good enough, or not feeling maybe safe enough or something. And you know that you want it, perhaps. You know that you're longing for it. Sorry. But at the same time, every time you think about it, it makes you feel like this. So if you've actually been engaged in this, you could find freedom. It gives you freedom in your mind. It gives your mind a break. It gives you yourself a but deep down it also gives you worry. Now I get a reference to like the ordinary life you have with your neighbors and friends and family, your home, maybe the things you are involved in, like work, maybe hobbies, fitness clubs. Like in that environment that is your everyday life, it may be important to show up in a certain way so that you're not judged and you can uphold a certain image here. But then you know once a year you could be taking 1 week vacation where you go somewhere totally alone. You go to some kind of party realm, an island somewhere where nobody would know you, right? Where you are not faced with your ordinary life. You're not faced with your parents or any other person, anything else that could judge you beside God or a higher sense of judgment. And when you go there, you can pursue some kind of passion. You dance rumba. You, I don't know, you do belly dancing. But because you are alone here, or the only one you are with here, the only one you are with likes this about you, right? They care about you. You can be one with this. If the tiger is a representative of your inner wisdom or passion here, you can be one with them because you are alone, right? You can indulge in this because you are only with them and there are no other eyes on you. And when that happens, you have the freedom. It's freeing something. The dragonfly, I feel like, always represents something that is old. It could even be like eons old, like you have some kind of wisdom that is special and could be old. Some kind of knowledge that is, again, it's a passion of yours and you indulge in it. Freedom says, it talks about living the life that you love. Liberation as a shift in perspective. The many facets of freedom. Inviting enjoyment and inspiration to your life. Discovering what freedom means to you and overcoming limitations. Unbound creative expression and choice over obligation. So it has to do with, I feel like here it's about obligation, what you should do, what you should look like, what you have been advised to do. This could have been part of your upbringing. It is, as I said, maybe a different kind of life. And when you pursue this life, it's very perfect. It's everything that society wants, maybe your family wants, your kids, your spouse wants. It's everything that it looks good on paper, but it's a limited life in the sense that if you let something else in here, well, as I said, maybe you want to be this belly dancer, but a belly dancer is not necessarily, according to the Virgo perfectionism, maybe it's not in that area. So a belly dancer cannot be part of that image. Sorry. And just take it how it resonates. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be belly dancing. It's just anything that you feel like is a threat, you could say, to your image in some way. Freedom means living as you choose, with your wings and heart open, able to direct your reality as you want. The quest for freedom in one form or another seems innate. In Western culture, the path to freedom is often equated with money. Ironically, chasing wealth can have the opposite effect due to the length taken for it to be acquired. It is possible to weave a life in thriving alignment with our soul's calling while financially supporting our realities. So again, I feel like there is something I said in the beginning, something about, you can look at the new moon reading, for instance, that this idea that all this stuff that a person has been fighting for, working for, claiming and using all that time on, when they pass from that life, it doesn't matter. All the status, all the image, all the money, all the effort, all the work, everything they have put in there, like when they are leaving this life, when they are transitioning from this life, it doesn't matter and they can't take it with them anyway. So sometimes, yeah, money is great. Luxury or the cleansed home and everything, yeah, it's great. But as I said, you can keep tidying up the entire planet if you want to. It never stops. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe there's something else here that you should just indulge in. You know, maybe you should let your senses out. Feel the wind, the touch of the sun on your skin. You know, maybe you could awaken something else here. Again, instead of constantly being very absorbed in some perfectionism, maybe you should just allow yourself, like the perfectionism is actually a kind of limitation to your life, that even though it can bring you something, like you can definitely maybe again earn much money, but it never stops. And the machinery of working, like your boss, like they will keep requesting the same effort from you. If they like what you do, they will keep requesting it, and they will not allow something less. But the only one who can change that is you. Like you can look for a job where it's maybe not all about that perfect image. It's maybe not all about the business style. It's maybe not all about that. You can be lazy, maybe. You can relax. You can let your senses out. You can do the belly dance or the naked bathing, right? You can do that. Just find the right environment, find the right people to be with who supports this, and just know that you're not a bad person. That you are allowed to have a sense of freedom. Again, if others don't care about the tidying, you could be free as well. Like they are not participating in it. You could be free as well from this task. Do you see the point? Like, I think for anyone who considers themselves as a perfectionist, yes, it can definitely help you with something. Because you are so occupied with this, You can become the perfect employee. But that's also it. You have to stay the perfect employee. You become now the role model of being an employee here in this firm. But it never gives you one tiny minute of relaxing. So is it worth it? What about this, whatever that is for you? What about this? A place where you can just be you with the one here, with someone or something here, that when you are with them, you just feel relaxed, you feel free, right? I think because this is in the crown chakra, I think that you are aware of it. Maybe you're looking for a sense of freedom. If you could start all over, right, and you could get what I call, you could be assigned a witness protection program, as we see in crime series on TV, or if you literally have been in a very, you have been a witness in a very difficult lawsuit or a difficult situation, and you need protection from that. Consider yourself as if you could have a totally new identity. If you could have a new name. If you could start all over. You move to a new city. Nobody knows you there. What would you do then? Would you still do the same as you do today? Or would you maybe allow yourself to pursue something else here? Would you have the same education? Would you have the same virtues? Would you still uphold the same image? If you could have a new name, you could move across the state, you could live somewhere else, you could build up a new life, would you still do the same that you're doing today? Or would you start a life that you love without limitations, without these perfect rules or something? Like without the perfectionism and without these maybe discriminating rules or limiting rules to your life of what you can have or what you can be, or what happiness is, or what righteousness and virtuousness is. Can you find a middle ground? Can you find somewhere where you can include some of this and still feel okay with yourself? Can you find a way where you can have that freedom without feeling the doom that you are a failure, or that you have that you are now this saint that has this angel that has fallen, that you are this tragic terrible person because you are actually pursuing something you love here, because you are pursuing maybe self-care, because you are allowing yourself to see that something imperfect in my life isn't a tragedy. I haven't failed because I may not live up to all these standards in a dualistic world. I have accepted the fact that I have a shadow side, that not all of me is virtuous, that not all of me is right, Sometimes I can be jealous on people or bitter on people that are not seeing my value, that are not seeing me as this perfect being. But when I get jealous and bitter or resentful, I'm actually not this saint. I'm actually not this perfect being. So I'm realizing that I have a shadow side. I realize I am maybe imperfect, and it's all right. This dualistic world cannot be only perfect. Nobody can. That's not how we are made on a cellular level. Everything in this world screams duality. And therefore, we are too duality. We are children of this earth. We live here. We have no choice, actually. And again, I've said also before on my channel that that sometimes we are doing things in the most, like our intentions with what we are doing are perfect, like our intentions are good. We are doing this to the best of our knowledge with the best intentions, maybe to help another person. But if they don't want our advice, if they don't care about our virtues, if they don't see the world the same as you, no matter how much intention you have and how great intentions you have, and you only want the best for them, if they don't see the value in it, if they are experiencing this as an invasion or as a disciplining or as a criticizing or as like an advice is imposed upon them but they never ask for it, then you're not helping. So even if you've done something with the best of intentions, the person doesn't want it, perhaps, right? If they don't want it, like you can impose it many times, but actually it's just a projection of all your own stuff. It's not helping them at all. And I think sometimes we overlook this, that even though it's very important to you, it doesn't mean that it's important to someone else. They may have their own rules or inner demands or virtues, and they may not be like yours. If you talk to another Virgo, yeah, you will understand each other. You will probably have some of the same things. But if you talk to a Pisces, they may not understand exactly why some of the things you do are so important. They may not understand it. And I think this new moon in Pisces and the message I had from that new moon reading is kind of the same here. That money is not everything, work is not everything, upholding this perfect image in this imperfect world is not everything. Relax, right? Allow yourself to indulge in something that is not that perfect. Maybe even do it on purpose. Do it on purpose so you will trigger yourself when you do that. Doing something on purpose that is messy. Or just, let's say You go to the most messy area of your local community. And you have a look at it. You sit there. You just have a look at it. Maybe you go there every day. Eventually, this messy area is not that terrible as it was once. As I said, the coffee stain on your table. If you let it be, eventually it becomes part of the entire workplace. Eventually it must be there almost. Eventually it's okay. It's the allowing, that you allow for something to be not perfect. As I have the hiccups now, it's annoying me, right? But I'm continuing this reading for you anyway because, well, it's just the hiccups. I've been confronting myself with some of this too. I'm still not probably over it, you know. I still have more issues, I guess, that I could look at. But I have confronted myself with some of this. And actually I found it very terrible. It was not a very good thing. I found myself feeling very like a really bad person. It felt like I was letting mess into my life. And it gave me a very uneasy feeling. Some of it still can, you know, but again, it's my problem. These are my emotions. And I'm just telling you about this because it's, as again, love, hate, it's, yes, it can help you in certain areas and it creates a lot of problems in other areas of your life. Can I have an advice card about this? Let's say first I feel like I want to read from the book. It is the center card, so it is important. It says, a majestic tiger gazes to the right, into your future, alert to the new adventures and passions about to be awakened in your life. His thick coat and sinewy muscles rely a classic expression of sensuality and movement. This energy is present for you too. It's time to open up to more sensual sides of life, to touch, taste, see and hear with a heightened appreciation and awareness. The tiger is calling you to slow down and really experience the joys of the senses. Savor every moment of a beautiful scene, a sweet taste, or a tender touch that sparks soul appreciation. The resulting energetic momentum brings you in alignment with the beauty and bliss of the universe. In addition, a more passionate sensuality may be on the rise. Don't dismiss the potential for shared excitement and increased sexuality. The tiger totem also brings messages of feminine wisdom and devotion, for tigresses are devoted mothers. This may foretell a period of dedication, more time to your family, or even a new devotion to the needs of your own sweet inner child. Listen to your intuition in these and all matters. This wisdom is alive in you and ready to advise. Don't be fooled, however, by the rise of the feminine. Your gentle nature is matched by great power at this time. Tigers often hunt at night, so you may experience an increase in evening activities, both social and professional. You might also be feeling more adventurous and more willing to take risks. In fact, you may now find yourself becoming more passionate about a great many things. Enjoy your newfound zest for life. So you see, I think this is important to look at in your life because it is bringing you more of this, more freedom, more breaks from normal thinking. It connects you to your soul, it connects you to the universe, and it can take you away from the worrying about having enough, being enough, and like a constant thrive or thinking about money or work or, as I said, status, image, being good enough, being a role model, being, I don't know, maybe better than or a saint or something, or this voice here is like a decipher whether this voice is actually a friend or a foe. Like, is it helping you in some way? Is it really what you want? If you could have a totally new identity and start all over, what would you do then? Would you still pursue the same job, live in the same city, have the same friends, do the same things, have the same hobbies, be involved in the same things you have? Or would you do something else? It's also about trust, I think. Like, do you trust that you can have more freedom by allowing this other side of you to have more say, to slow down, to indulge in those sensual experiences? Every meal, every sound, every touch, every smell. You could have massages here, things you haven't done before. Maybe a new hobby. Again, I've never really done horseback riding and the connection with the horse, something like that. Maybe you want to do something like that if you haven't done it before. Again, the messiness of the horse. That the horse is an animal. It lives in different. It has a different life. It eats differently. It acts differently. Like maybe becoming acquainted with something that is like having a pet. Yes, it's going to be messy to have a pet, but there's also something else about the pet, right? Maybe it can pee on the floor, but it's also a good friend, perhaps, So there's this both good and bad in something, right? An advice card here for Virgo. Star. I get the star card. Sorry. I get the star card here. The star card is about following your own inner voice. It's about soul connection. It's about knowing who you are and following that. Letting yourself be guided by the stars, you could say. If you have like a guardian angel, let yourself be guided by that one. Just trust that if you let the things into your life that gives you joy or pleasure or comfort, or it's not all about goals, it's not all about bottom lines, it's not all about economy, it's not all about money, it's not all about stuff, it's not all about perfectionism, that you can have a richer life. Follow that star calling here. The star is usually associated with Aquarius energy. Aquarius can be a rebellion. Aquarius can go against the stream. Aquarius is futuristic. Everybody looks here to the right, to the future here. Not to the past. Not about what has been. So all the work you put into something, all the virtues you had, you can choose different ones moving forward. You can set new rules for yourself. You can decide what's perfect differently. Again, as I said, for a person who is transitioning from one human life to something else, they can't take all this with them, what they have acquired, all the stuff they have, the money, the items, inherited items and everything. They can't take it with them anyway. It's left in the human world. So what do you want to, what can you take with you? What can you take with you? You can take wisdom with you, but you can't take the stuff, the energy you've put into all of this, acquiring all of this, maintaining it. You can't even take your body with you. The body is buried or burned or something, right? You can't even take your body with you when you transition. Soul is not in form. Soul is formless. So when the soul leaves the body, it takes nothing in form with it. So when you transition, or even if you want to have a rebirth here, what do you want to take with you into a new life? As I said, if you were in a witness protection program, you had a new name, you had a new life, you had a new identity, maybe you even had a new job. What should it be then? How should your house look? What would be of importance? Is it really all this stuff? Is it really all this? What would you take with you? What would be important? what new perfectionist or what new rules would you have in your life? What would be your guidance here? That's what I feel like I have here for you, Virgo. I hope this helps somehow. I'm sorry about the hiccups, but sometimes this happens if there's something that needs to be said, or like coughing or sneezing or something. It's all just another indication of maybe the importance of something, or and I guess it can be for me as well, but as it can be for you. You have a human body for a reason. You have an opportunity to enjoy that body you have. You don't have to hide it. It's okay. But of course, it will always be your choice. It will always be your choice. In what way you want to live your life. So if you feel like this is not your reading, or this you can't resonate with it, or it's too strong of a message, then maybe you're not ready for it, right? And then you shouldn't claim it, of course. But this is what I have for you, Virgo. I hope this helped in some way. Take very good care of yourself out there. I send you my very best always. Love and light to you. Bye bye.